Welcome, everyone, to the precursor to the greatest spectacle in automotive sports. Welcome to the Gainbridge 300 Race 6 in the Firestone Champ Car Challenger Series season. 33 cars taking place here on Friday, May 17th. What was once a tradition for the Freedom 100 has now turned into a tradition for the Champ Car Challenger Series. The future of the Champ Car World Series begins here. A fantastic 2 weeks of preparation has led to 2 races, one today on Friday, the race here, the Gainbridge 300, and then the World Series race, the Indianapolis 500 on Sunday. Espacio Megalos for Faceporia Motorsport had the distinct honors of leading the Challenger Series field to green here today. It has been a wild opening 5 races. This is race 6 of 20 going into the season after a crazy race in Sonoma 3 weeks ago. Series hoping to narrow it in and focus on now the middle stanza of the season. Espacio Megalos enters this race top 10 in points, and with a really good start to really kind of gain some momentum on that. Megalos will start alongside Katrina Ochoa on the front row. Keisha Fox and Rex Riley, they will share row 2. Then it's Valerie Fang and Kira Moore sitting in row number 3. Just looking at that top 6, it's very interesting. Obviously, Megalos and Ochoa did not participating in this year's Indianapolis 500, did not enter. Ochoa has had success here at Indianapolis in the World Series, has raced in the 500 before. That experience coming to the fore. Keisha Fox is qualified for Sunday's 500. It sits alongside Rex Riley, who has raced in the 500 as well. Valerie Fang failed to qualify. She starts row 3 here, but failed to qualify for Sunday's race, sitting alongside Kira Moore, who looks set to potentially be a contender in this race, if things are to be believed. Mia Vitsut and Roberto Crown Jr., they sit in row number 4 together. Both of them also racing on Sunday, so very valuable experience going into this race. Luisa Floros and Katerina Milinkovic sit in row number 5. Milinkovic also racing on Sunday as well, ahead of Dale Blanco and Isabel Espinoza, who will sit just outside the top 10 on the starting grid, 11th and 12th. 13th and 14th on the grid is Sora Hoshino and Karina Sakurauchi. Sakurauchi racing at Indy for the first time this weekend. Gets double duty to stack on top of that, racing both today and on Sunday. Jace Clark and Seth Smith Jr., they make up row number 8, ahead of Isabel Lantra, who lost the points championship lead last time out in Sonoma, who sits alongside Arashi Seto. Satomi Ray, debut for Satomi Ray, the former NAMRA Cup Series driver. That makes 3 in this field. Ray sits alongside Maria Chavez in row 10. Felicia Zappa and Rika Venalainen sit in row 11. These two were the 2 main contenders in row 11 for the race win in Phoenix. Venalainen ended up with that race win over Zappa. Jake Carter and Maria D'Amata sit in row number 12. Then it's Nara Takarasi, former Indianapolis 500 winner, in this field in row 13 alongside Natalia Kurachenko. Yumina Mizuno and Asada Kito sit in row 14. Row 15 is Rachel Koivunemi alongside Karina Amara. Emily Polsatrix and Sonia Walker sit in row 16. And rounding up the 33-car field is Yuya Ishii. So work to do, some more than others, as we get ready to go here in this race. 33 cars, field we've seen just once this season. That was in Adelaide, when Melody Smith was in the 04 for Yanjian Motorsport. Now it's Satomi Ray. Everyone else as they were. The Ford Raptor pace car will lead the field around and lead the field to green. Before we get to that, though, let's hit a track side for those most famous words in all of motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roar to life here in Indianapolis. what should be a wide open Indianapolis 500 on Sunday, this race should be even more wide open, a lot closer field throughout. Espacio Megalos and Katrina Ochoa sit on the front row. Row 2, there's Keisha Fox and Rex Riley. Valerie Fang and Kira Moore, row 3. As everyone begins their formation lap, there's row 4. Mia Vitsut and Roberto Crown Jr., row 5. The 30 of Katerina Milenkovic and the 75 of Luisa Floros. 17 rows rolling out here. Let's browse throughout the field here. That's Blanco and Espinoza, Hoshino and Sakurauchi, Clark and Smith. There's Isabel Lantra alongside Arashi Seto. There's the other Yanjian Motorsport car that we're talking about, Satomi Ray. As the field gets ready to go. Satomi Ray starting pretty well in this field. Starting inside row 10, 19th. Pace car will take the left-hand turn. The green flag is in the air. Racing begins. The Gainbridge 300 is underway. Megalos takes early jump. But the race is on in what should be a pretty easy 3-stop race. Megalos trying to lead lap 1. Ochoa says otherwise. Looks to the inside here with help from Rex Riley. And Ochoa gets out in front. Side by side does not work very well in the corners here in Indianapolis. Everyone giving each other plenty of space, but it is Ochoa with the preferred line out of 3 and 4 that leads lap 1 over Espacio Megalos, over Rex Riley, as Keisha Fox begins the descent backwards. Stuck on the outside lane. And eventually will slot in front, I believe, of Sora Hoshino as Chase Clark peeks to the outside. And Megalos begins her slide backwards as Rex Riley tries to move forward. So Rex Riley moves up to second place. Roberto Crown Jr. cannot make moves on Valerie Fang, so he will stay in 5th. Behind Fang and behind Megalos. Meanwhile, side by side, Dale Blanco is on the chart as a Chevrolet for Crystal Cove. Moving forward. So is the 12 of Sakurauchi, who's had 2 weeks to practice for the 500 and learn this track and learn these cars here. An invaluable experience for the dirt racer from Night City. Ahead of Keisha Fox, who's been at this track so many times before. There's Hoshino in the 09. And then you have Chase Clark ahead of Kira Moore. And then you have Luisa Floros ahead of Seth Smith Jr. and Isabel Lantra. And then it's still a huge gaggle of cars all the way back here. Espinoza, D'Amata, and Carter have gotten ahead. That is Koivanemi, the points leader, going in, getting clear of Mia Vitsut, who continues her descent backwards. Koivanemi being shadowed by Kurachenko and by Pulsatrix. And there goes Satomi Ray, the 04. Around, as does Arashi Seto, and to her hope, Felicia Zappa. Here comes Rika Venalainen, ahead of Asada Kito as well. Meanwhile, front of the field has become the 72 of Rex Riley out in front. Riley ahead of Megalos and Fang. Katrina Ochoa has dropped down to 4th, peeks to the inside of the Phoenix Motorsports car, but can't get really that much closer. 6 teams in the top 6 right now. Pretty interesting variety at the front of the field. 8 in the top 8, 9 in the top 9. Let's go all the way down. 10th place, I believe, is still a new driver in the group. There's Jace Clark actually in 10th place. So that gives Black Rose Racing 2 cars in the top 10. Speaking of which, Megalos drops down behind Roberto Crown Jr. and Karina Sakurauchi as the lap times continue to quicken in this race. 40.6, 221.2 miles an hour by Seth Smith Jr., the fast lap of the race. Meanwhile, front of the field is still the 72 of Rex Riley, who's had a little bit of gap to play with here, with Valerie Fang having to get around Megalos and successfully doing so. Roberto Crown trying to get around the 27 of Ochoa and does so. Crown's looked pretty on pace for the 500 as well through practice the last 2 weeks. Showing some of that here in the Challenger Series as well. 3rd place for him. Ochoa shops the door shut on Dale Blanco. So the racing continues on here. And en masse. Really good running so far. And Valerie Fang is caught up to the 72 of Rex Riley. They put a distance between themselves and the 3rd place car of Crown, although Crown's put himself a little bit further ahead. Really, the only adjustments these cars can really make between themselves is the in-car adjustments, the weight jacker, the roll bars, and the engine mapping. Pretty tight field, as it's meant to be. You don't see the development that you see in the World Series, like what you'll see on Sunday for the 500. So it's a lot closer fighting going on. As you see, there's Dale Blanco and Keisha Fox getting around Ochoa. So the front row for the field has been dispatched out of the top 5. Megalos now down in 10th. Valerie Fang shadows the race leader Rex Riley. Riley has experience, raced here last year for the first time. Valerie Fang has been to the Speedway twice for the 500. Failed to qualify for the 500 this year, although teammate Lantra was the last car in. But Valerie Fang focused on improving her standing in the Challenger Series. Right now she sits well outside the top 10 in points. While teammate Lantra, her rookie teammate, sits 2nd in the points after leading for the first 4 races of the season. And you see the gap between the top 2 here in 3rd place, Dale Blanco. Keisha Fox in 4th. Roberto Crown down to 5th now. And there's Karina Sakurauchi right now in 7th for Verizon Team Impulse. That team trying to go for a sweep here if they can. Sakurauchi in the 7th position, Clark in 8th, Hoshino 9th, Megalos there in 10th ahead of Seth Smith Jr., who sits just outside the top 10 in 11th spot. Isabel Lantra already at the 12th ahead of Milenkovic. Katerina sitting right now in the 13th position ahead of Kira Moore, who has actually been dispatched pretty sharply. There's Espinoza ahead of Floros, Damata, Koivanemi, ahead of Pulsatrex, and then you see Kira Moore trying to fight with Satomi Ray. And will eventually stop the bleeding there. But that is 20th place that Kira Moore falls to. Not an ideal time if you're Kira Moore to drop down the 20th place right now. New leader, Valerie Fang, has taken over the lead of the race. And now it's Jake Carter. Closer to the front of the field. Riley in 3rd now, Keisha Fox in 4th. And then you see there's the 10 of Roberto Crown Jr. and the 27 of Katrina Ochoa. Blanco looking for his first lap sled here in Indianapolis. We've had three different leaders, excuse me. Ochoa, Riley, and Fang. Carter's going to peek to the inside, going into turn 1. He wants to become the 4th new leader. Here comes Rex Riley back around with 54 Fang. And Keisha Fox going to try to pounce as well. You see just how much time was lost by the 54. Stuck on that outside lane. Using draft, Keisha Fox will realize that that fight's probably not the best right now. And they'll begin climbing back forward towards the front of the field. Typically 3rd, 4th car in line doesn't get the same benefit as the front 2 cars, and that's where you see Del Blanco and Rex Riley now front of the field. This is going to be a very easy 2 to 3 stop race, depending on how you save your fuel. If you can get to about lap 40, it's 40, 80, that'll get you to 120 with only 2 stops. However, we've seen a lot of cars struggle to get to that lap 40 mark. So we'll see who's playing that game. Usually the further up front you are, the harder that gets. Those sitting further behind typically have a little bit better of a chance to save some fuel. Trying to catch back up to Blanco here. Meanwhile, Riley's got mirrors full with that 54 car with Valerie Fang. Fang's going to peek to the inside. Very, very late lunge there. Riley was very kind to not shut the door there, but it's going to cost several spots. As there goes Sakurauchi, and there goes Keisha Fox that time. Chase Clark likewise has made his way up several spots. As we sit, coming to complete lap 17. Clark's made his way up almost to the top 5 here. Blanco continues to hold the lead on his own because the field has been spending so much time battling for 2nd place. Now some breathing space between Fang and Sakurauchi and the rest of the field. They can try to reel back in on the 56 of Blanco. It is way better to be in draft than to be without it. But Blanco has clean air, and that is very helpful right now as Keisha Fox drops this position, drops 2 positions, drops to Clark and Hoshino before slotting in right in front of Ochoa, who looks like she's going to try to make an inroads pass here as well. So Keisha Fox will then have to slot in front of Espacio Megalos, the pole sitter. A good drive, though, so far for the 56 of Blanco at the front of the field. Meanwhile, very back of the field is Mizuno and Amara. And then you see Takarasi in the cluster of cars that exist here. There is Yuya Ishii, who started dead last in this race, just behind Sonia Walker and Mia Vitsu. The Cat Devil Racing teammates have hooked up together. Vitsu fell so far back, the Cat Devil Racing teammates have locked heel-toe. And now they shadow Asada Kito and Isabel Espinoza. There's Felicia Zappa right now sitting in 19th, Satomi Ray in 20th, just behind. The racing fully underway. As again, the field tries to catch up to Del Blanco. Blanco set the fastest lap of the race a few laps ago, 221.3. Mile-an-hour lap there by Blanco. It's 40.637 on the timesheets. The field just trying to close back in on the 56. 54, Valerie Fang. See if she's made any inroads. A little bit. Back to second. Drafting distance about 1.2, so just inside that bubble. To begin pulling in, and you're seeing the effects of that now. Now that she's reeled back in, that gap begins to close, and she's beginning to separate from Sakurauchi and Riley, who also have draft. It's the accordion effect at the front of the field. Now she's back in the slipstream of the 56. It should help out a little bit here. This gap should be a lot closer. Across the line, this is complete lap 21. The gap did come down by a decent amount until Sakurauchi decided that she wants a chance at the party. A dirt track star from Central California. Now rolling in second place ahead of Fang, ahead of Riley. Like Fang under threat from Riley, the 72 car, who's peeking to the inside and will take a lunge here. And Fang's going to try to slip back down right into the draft of the 72 before the 09 comes in and can't do it. And make that 2 spots loss as Hoshino makes it very easy and very simple. Fang's now trying to get up to speed here to avoid getting passed by Ochoa, and it's not going to happen. And look at that, though. Keisha Fox shuffled to the outside by Megalos. So now they're 2 by 2, which is going to slow this group down significantly out of 4. And you're seeing the effect of it. Keisha Fox endured and passed the 27. Cannibalization going on right now, front of the field. Still Del Blanco, but it seems like time is not on his side as Sakurauchi looks at the race leader. Sakurauchi in second with a good gap here to make an attempt and lunge at the 56. All 33 cars still running here as we start lap 25 of 120. Some time that time through, allowing Rex Riley to get closer. Four cars in a blanket, down to Hoshino in fourth. Keisha Fox now sitting in fifth ahead of Ochoa and the gaggle of cars fighting to stay in the top 10. Which includes Valerie Fang and Isabel Lantra, both the Phoenix Motorsports cars, as well as Seth Smith Jr. and Luisa Floros. Well, looks like that's Maria Amata just behind it is, and then Espacio Megalos ahead of Roberto Crown Jr. Very tight-knit racing so far. Sakurauchi once again close, peeks to the inside, half a car length between the two. And Sakurauchi takes a look here. Checks up the 56, but can't get around him. But that will help out the 72 a little bit. And the 09 closing in on this fight. And now Sakurauchi has to try to build the momentum again. Didn't work in turn 3. Turn 1's been the sweet spot. Not close enough there. So Sakurauchi stays in second place at the moment. We'll have another decent shot down the back straightaway this time. There's a decent gap between fourth and fifth. Blanco's turned on the jets a little bit as the fighting continues here in Indianapolis. Approaching lap 30 and getting ever so closer to the first round of pit stops. Blanco continues to lead the way. The field separated by 9 seconds. From the race leader Blanco to last place, Yumina Mizuno. A good run so far. Top 4 is stabilized a little bit, spaced out on their own little accord. There he is, Hoshino, the 09. There's Keisha Fox in 5th, separating herself from Katrina Ochoa and Jace Clark. With Seth Smith Jr., Isabel Lantra, and Luisa Floros capping out the top 10 at the moment as things stand. Roberto Crown falling deeper down the order. Now in the danger of being passed by the 30 of Milenkovic and the 50, sorry, the 71 of Polstrix and the 50 of Felicia Zappa, who gets moved to the top side by Arashi Seto, who almost forced a 3 wide. Zappa sweeps to the underneath, checks up Satomi Ray, but finds a way around the 10 car at the line and has the advantage into turn 1, having that inside groove. Roberto Crown learning the hard knocks of Indianapolis the hard way. Front of the field has changed hands. Sakurauchi is now up ahead. The Night City resident now leading the way. First lap led for Sakurauchi at Indianapolis. Gainbridge 300 being led by Karina Sakurauchi, ahead of Dale Blanco, ahead of Rex Riley and Sora Hoshino. And Keisha Fox 5th, but under threat now from Jace Clark and Seth Smith Jr. You saw just further back there, that is Lantra getting around the 27 of Katrina Ochoa. Ochoa staying ahead of 10th place, Luisa Floros. Stay right where she is. And here comes Clark for 5th. Keisha Fox will lose 4 positions in one go at least. Again, Floros not close enough to poach, but not far away to still make something happen either. Sakurauchi is clear out front right now. Top 4 pretty evenly spaced. Roll through turns 1 and 2. Here's Clark now top 5 with Seth Smith Jr. in tow. And then Lantra, Ochoa, and Fox. With Floros running up the top 10 at the moment. And Fox will drop even further down the order. Is it going to be 1 spot or 2? Just 1 spot. Floros got what she wanted out of that ordeal. And it held Maria D'Amata up and prevented D'Amata from getting into the top 10 there. So D'Amata stays ahead of Fang, ahead of Megalos, ahead of Koivanami, who's moved up into the top 15 here. Koivanami 14th ahead of Milenkovic, who sits top 15 exact. And then you have Polstrix, and in the end of the first half of the field is capped off with Arashi Seto. You have Felicia Zappa, there's Satomi Rai, the 04. Natalia Krachenko, the 40, in the 40. And sitting 20th place, Isabel Espinoza in 21st ahead of Mia Vitsu. Kira Moore ahead of Rika Venalainen, but both of them not where they wanted to be in this fight. And you have the 55 of Carter, the 22 of Asada Kito, the 44 of Ishii. As everyone's still running, now the last car running is Karina Amara down in 33rd. Everyone's still very well in range and in draft to each other. It is Sakurauchi's race right now. Finishing lap 35 with pit stops looming close. 36 to 41 is the pit window that we've picked up for this field. Those that can make it to lap 40 or 41 or beyond can do this on a two-stop race, and they would be favorites as things currently stand if this stays green all the way like last year's 500 did. Same one coming this time. It's not going to be the leaders. Actually, it might be the leaders. There goes Rex Riley. Riley's in pit lane. And alone on that effort. So that does not help out Rex Riley at all. But no holdups in pit lane either is the inverse question there as Riley comes down pit lane. Gonna be very clean entry and exit for the 72. And it looks like Sakurauchi will come down pit lane. It'll give the lead right back to Del Blanco, with Blanco ahead of Hoshino and out in front. So Blanco leads now, and again, it's about getting as close as you can to lap 40. If you can get to 40 or 41, you are made for the remainder of this race, because then you've got one more pit stop to do just after lap 80 to get you those final 40 laps. And here comes Blanco. He cannot hold off that long. And a good chunk of the field comes in. Big question marks though. Starting lap 39, that is Maria D'Amata. And I believe staying out as well was the Cat Dover Racing Machine of Mia Vitsu. So D'Amata stays out. So does Vitsu, Koivanemi. There is Kurachenko as well. There's Nero Takarasi in the mix too. Does D'Amata come in this time? The answer is yes, she will. So will Vitsu, so will Koivanemi, and a lot of the stragglers that did not come down pit lane until now. They will not hold out much longer, so no one can make it to 40. Very intriguingly, no one can make it to 40. And it's the giant race off pit lane. There's Isabel Espinoza, I believe, ahead of Jake Carter in the 55 car. It is. So cycling of positions has taken place here. Blanco in the lead, just barely, but has to get those tires up to speed with Sakurauchi in tow. And this has quickly become a two-horse race. Sakurauchi peeks to the inside. D'Amata leaves pit lane now. You saw some of the stragglers there leaving pit lane. Sakurauchi pushes Blanco up high. Now, if these two begin racing hard, it'll pull Hoshino and Riley back in. They're third and fourth, just inside the screen. The more you run side by side here, the slower you are. And it's not just a little slower. So you need to be careful. At some point you need to pick your battles and try to minimize the amount of uncontrollables, amount of variables that are in this battle for the race lead. We've seen that from Team Impulse the last couple of years in the 500. If you can isolate it to just your team, you have a pretty good chance of controlling the flow of the race at the end. Of course, Team Impulse, the 12 car, part of that team, very well versed, having won the last 3 500s, trying to sweep the weekend here at Indy. Blanco for Crystal Cove, trying to bring Crystal Cove to victory lane at Indianapolis for the first time. Crystal Cove's never won at the Brickyard. Never won the 500. Never won the Freedom 100 when it was a thing. Back when we had Indy Lights, what it was called, prior to the Atlantics Championship. Here comes Blanco, peeks to the inside. It throws Saccaracci off the bottom groove a little bit, but couldn't close the door. So Blanco's got to try it again. And the more that he tries, the more he pokes the door open. The door will stay open longer for those behind that are trying to catch up. He is closing in rapidly, really good in 1 and 2. Then the southern end of the racetrack turns 3 and 4. The northern end of the racetrack. The front and back straightaways are parallel with north-south. Now in the northern end. Not as strong there. Really picked up a lot of strength though in turns 1 and 2. Blanco's close enough that he should be able to make a move now if he so chooses, and that's exactly what he's going to do into turn 1. It's going to slow both of them down though. And you see that Saccaracci was able to stay parallel through a decent chunk of the southern end. And Hoshino now with Riley and potentially with Isabel Lantra, who has gotten to the top 5 with an excellent pit stop. They could be in the mix of this race in the second stanza. There's Chase Clark. There's Luisa Flores. There's Maria D'Amata, the 8. Ahead of Seth Smith Jr. and Valerie Fang. And both Fang and Milinkovic will get around Smith and shuffle him down to 12th. Sorry, 11th place. That's where Milinkovic would have been. Fighting now for 3rd. Hoshino slots back into place here. And Blanco's got himself some real estate out in front. Still a 2-horse race right now after the first round of pit stops. Saccaracci in 2nd, Blanco leads. Saccaracci looks to the inside, nothing going there. Not close enough that time. Saccaracci really close right now in this 2-horse race at the front of the field. All 33 cars still rolling in this race, separated now by 17.1 seconds from Blanco to 33rd. Karina Amara is where they're sitting right now. Saccaracci looking, closing in big time here. Really good surge forward by the Verizon Team Impulse car. Sitting in 2nd place. Bex Riley down in 5th right now, behind Lantra and behind 3rd place Sora Hoshino. There's Maria D'Amata in 6th, Chase Clark in 7th. Teammates there for Black Rose Racing, the 8 and the 9. Trying to use Slipstream to stay ahead of the 75 of Luisa Floros. It will not be super effective. Stand corrected, very effective in turns 1 and 2. Clark able to drive in a lot deeper than Floros, which keeps Clark in the 7th spot. Floros in 8th, Valerie Fang 9th, 10th, Milinkovic still. And there's a huge gap between 11th place Seth Smith Jr. and Amity Polstrix in 12th. Here is teammates battling. That is Espinoza being passed by Ochoa and by Jake Carter potentially through 3 and 4. They do make it happen. Carter makes sure that he clears the 26. And the 61 will have to wait another lap at least to try to find a way around. Espinoza, there's Rika Venalainen, almost contact there with Mizuno, the 23. And further back, you see there's Mia Vitsut, there's Felicia Safa, Sonia Walker, Natalia Kurachenko, there is Arashi Seto, Aspasia Megalos, that is Yuya Ishii, and the 44, Kira Moore, Keisha Fox, Roberto Crown Jr. as they go side by side through turns 3 and 4 now. There is Maria Chavez alongside Nara Takarasi. Chavez staying ahead to both Takarasi and Tsutomi Ray. And then there is Karina Amara all by herself in 33rd at the moment as things stand. Blanco's led 24 laps, coming to lead 25 laps of 51 laps, excuse me. Sakurachi's led 11 laps. 7 laps led by Rex Riley, a lap led by Maria D'Amata. 3 laps led by Valerie Fang. And 3 laps led by Katrina Ochoa. Blanco's got 0.3 of a second out in front of Sakurauchi. And caution's out. Oh, huge cautions out. Cautions out in turns 3 and 4. Megalos, Keisha Fox, among others involved. That's Kira Moore. That is 26 of Isabel Espinoza. Oh, wow, this is about 10 cars involved. Roberto Crown also involved here. So let's see what happens here. This is, I think, going to be pretty far forward in 3 and 4. The teammates that get together. It 100% is teammates that get together, and Isabel Espinoza pays the price for it. Stuck up on the outside wall. Nowhere for any of these drivers to go, and they're already checking up. Oh my goodness. Turns 3 and 4, Calamity Corner. Collects almost a dozen cars. And most of them out pretty significantly and immediately. We'll get a running score for you here momentarily. What's the saying? Don't wreck your teammate. I think that broke that rule. Several cars out. Roberto Crown is out. So 24th through 33rd is out of this race. And that is 9 cars out. No, sorry, 10 cars out. 23 still running. Del Blanco still out front. There's Maria Chavez. So cars out of this race include Roberto Crown Jr., Kira Moore, Isabel Espinoza, Keisha Fox, Espacio Megalos, Natalia Korechenko, Yuya Ishii, Felicia Zappa, Nara Takarasi, and Karina Amara. All out. Del Blanco leads here at Indianapolis. Light still on the pace car as the field works on getting caught back up. Satomi Ray still on the racetrack, now up in the 22nd position. Ahead of Chavez and behind Arashi Seto. Sadakito, the 22, behind Emily Bolstrix and Rachel Koivanemi. There's Jade Carter, the second Crystal Cove racing car. Light still on the pace car. Means we have at least one more lap. Lights on the safety truck. Driver's revving up the engines, getting down to the right gear. It is Blanco, Sakurauchi, Lantra, Hoshino, Riley. Your top 5. Green flag back in the air and away we go. First restart of the race following the first caution. Camyron rolling through turns 1 and 2 safely here. Here comes the battle for second place. Lantra looking for second. Around Sakurauchi. And so will Hoshino go to third. Down the front straightaway, Lantra leads second place battle here. And here comes Hoshino. Immediately looking for second place here. And they're letting the 56 of Blanco get away. Lantra, though, defends the outside lane to perfection. Stays on the outside lane and stays second place. Well, Riley passes D'Amato to get fifth back, and D'Amato looks right to the inside lane to take fifth back again. So these two will battle back and forth for a spot in the top 5, and here comes Luisa Floros. Battling once again all the way up for second place here with Hoshino now ahead. Lantra's gotten all the way to the front of the field. So Isabel Lantra now leads the way. You see Del Blanco. Drops in line behind the 8 of Maria D'Amato. And immediately on the attack is Luisa Floros, the 75. Making inroads on Rex Riley, and that'll open the door for a bunch of other cars to try to slot their way through. As the fighting resumes, right up the field, that is Cuevan Amy got through. There's Valerie Fang trying to get through as well. Everyone jockeying for positions. Lantra continues to lead the way over Hoshino and Sakurauchi. Closing in, Hoshino toward the front of the field. Hoshino's not led laps in this race yet. That's 4th lap led for Lantra. Sakurauchi's led 11. And the caution's out again. And it looks like it might be, if I'd have to hazard a guess, it might be for the 27. Oh no. The answer to that question is a little bit further to the inside of the track. It's Asada Kito. And you see the damage on the right side of that car. Let's take a look at what happened to the 22 of Asada Kito in this group with that Sonia Walker, Katerina Milenkovic. I believe that's 35 of Mia Vitsi it is. Espinoza part of the huge crash because her teammate shut the door on her. I have a feeling this is going to be the inverse. I think this is Sonia Walker peeking to the inside a little late. No, not through 3 at least. Oh, wow. No, 3 wide situation between these 3. Wow. Teammates being put 3 wide. Whoa! Arashi Seto. Out of nowhere. And immediately showing the signs of that wear and tear. What happened to Arashi Seto, who is full speed through all of this? And that's just a rookie error there. Full throttle into an accident there. And Seto's going to have some repairs done now. Obviously, teammates not on the same page for Cadaver Racing, which is not what you want to see ahead of the biggest race of the year. But it will be Isabel Lantra front of the field ahead of Sora Hoshino, Karina Sakurauchi. There is Del Blanco back up to the top 4 ahead of Maria D'Amata. And you have Seth Smith Jr., Luisa Floros. There's Jace Clark. There is Jake Carter. Rachel Coy-Vanemi is sitting right now in the 10th spot ahead of Rex Riley. Valerie Fang in 12th. Katerina Milinkovic in 13th. We have Amity Polswick. Not a lot of the field came in this time. I wonder if this is enough to save them some fuel. And Arashi said he was going to try to keep going here. Asada Kito's race is over. So second caution of the day, which will lead to our second restart of the day here in Indianapolis for the Gainbridge 300. Isabel Lantra, Sora Hoshino, and Karina Sakurauchi sit in your top 10. Sit in your top 3 right now, ahead of your top 10 at Del Blanco, Maria D'Amata, Seth Smith Jr., Luisa Floros, Jace Clark, Jake Carter, and Rachel Coy-Vanemi. Down to 22 cars. Still on the pace truck, so we have at least one more lap until we're racing once again. We've crossed the halfway point. So while we're out of here, wonderful time to point out that we are not terribly far away from the 111th Indianapolis 500-mile race. Sunday coverage begins 11 a.m. Catch all of it from ABN Plus. We'll go live for the race here from ABN Sports at noon. Lantra, Hoshino, Sakurauchi, top of the field. 22 cars remain. As the Ford Raptor pace truck pulls down pit lane. Showtime once again. The second restart of the race for Lantra as she leads the field to green. "32 laps led by Del Blanco, the most of any driver so far in this race. have to hazard a guess that we are at an easy one-stop race at this point. Elantra have been dispatched here. As you can watch on your screen, Sakurauchi takes the lead of this race. Elantra stays in second, and now it's the turn of the tides on Hoshino, trying to stay in the top 5 after getting passed by Blanco. Stays ahead of Seth Smith Jr. And so Hoshino will stay top 5. The Mata just behind there. There's Chase Clark getting passed by Carter and by Koivanami. And potentially there goes Rex Riley. You see the gap between the cars that are okay and the cars that are wounded to some degree. And you see Vitsuit in pit lane once again. Not great if you're me and Vitsuit. Now going 2 laps down as Elantra wants to lead right back from Sakurauchi. 2 by 2. And this will allow Hoshino to get right back to second place. Here comes Del Blanco for third. On the outside lane, there's just nothing you can do. Sakurauchi's dropped down now to 5th place. But Hoshino right on the gearbox of Elantra, wanting that race lead once again. A race lead that Hoshino's not had except for 1 lap. And that was a very fleeting moment. Would love to have it back. Hoshino stays right to the gearbox here. Peeks to the inside down the front straightaway. Top 5 on Real Blanket, really top 6, because there is Maria Damata and there's Rachel Cuevanami. Someone Elantra was hoping would not get this close to the top 10. Elantra trying to defend the points lead. Side by side. They fight, but this is for second place. Remember, the more you go side by side, the slower you are, and the more you let the car in front get away. And that's what Hoshino is dealing with right now. Everyone trying to close in on Lantra here. V-suit out with a gearbox failure. So insult to injury, V-suit today is done early. As Hoshino drops down out of the top 5 now. Koivanemi in 5th. Blanco back up to 2nd. Sakurauchi in 3rd. Seth Smith Jr. in 4th. Here comes Koivanemi peeking to the inside for that 4th spot. And look at Jake Carter, that 2nd Crystal Cove racing car, in the mix as well. Sailing in the turns 3 and 4 once again, on their way to complete lap 78. Sakurauchi sitting in 3rd right now, in the middle of this 5-car combination. Everyone chasing Isabel Lantra. Lantra won the first race of the season in Adelaide. And from then all the way to Sonoma 3 weeks ago, was holding on to the points lead. A bad race at Sonoma and a great race for Koivanemi. Saw Koivanemi grab the championship lead by 24 points. Points for the top 10 point at the bottom of your screen. And now Koivanemi sits poised in 3rd. As Lantra is under threat from Dale Blanco, who's telegraphed his move early. Lantra can't cover it off. And they'll sit side by side, and this is going to give Koivanemi a really good chance as well to go for 2nd place. And now Lantra's been dispatched by 2 cars, maybe 3, because there's Seth Smith Jr. in the mix as well. Battling side by side. And Lantra tried everything that she could to hold on there, but it just was not effective enough. It will be enough to hold back Sakurauchi, but I don't think that's necessarily helpful. Seeing as how now you've left your championship adversary in Koivanemi right to the tail of Dale Blanco. We have ended lap 80, which means we are 1 pit stop away from everyone being good to go at the end of this race. We had a couple cautions, which has helped everyone extend their fuel economy here. So we know that the next pit stop's the last one. Everyone in general pit around lap 55. So realistically speaking, we should be okay until about lap 95-ish. Lap 90 to lap 95 is when I think most people should be coming down pit lane here. But the window theoretically is open if you wanted to come down early. I don't see why you would. The overcut seems to be more effective, but you never know. 3 cars in the mix up front. Blanco leads, going after the most laps led point there. Koivanemi and Smith, both 2nd and 3rd, have yet to lead a lap here in this race. Koivanemi gets right to the gearbox of that 56. Waiting for the right opportunity to strike. as laps continue to wind down. Less than 40 to go. Seth Smith now trying to challenge for the race lead. Got around Koivuniemen. Koivuniemen stays ahead of Sakurauchi, though barely. Seth Smith Jr. looking to lead his first lap here in Indy. Peeks to the inside. Sakar Serpentine and dance down the back straightaway towards 3 and 4, the northern end of the racetrack. Five cars in the mix. Hoshino back in the mix as well. Here comes Seth Smith Jr. Looks to the inside. Gets to the bottom of the racetrack and gets clear easily. And Blanco has enough time to recover and slide right back in front of Koivuniemen. So he'll lose one spot, nothing more. And that's critical. Meanwhile, Sakurauchi under threat from two cars. That's Carter in the 55, the 09 Hoshino ahead of him. So Hoshino goes up into the 4th spot, Carter to 5th, Sakurauchi in 6th, and immediately peeks right back to the inside of Carter, who did not get a clean exit out of 4. Lantra in 7th. But it's Maria D'Amata, Katerina Milinkovic, Luisa Floros, your top 10. Seth Smith Jr. leading the way. As we get closer to 30 laps to go. Talk about a team having to rebuild. A very abysmal World Series season last year. Missed most of the races, did not qualify. Moved down, 2-car effort in the Challenger Series this year, just to rebuild. Just to try to rebuild things and get things going in the right direction again. Proof that it is effective. Felicia Zappa, pole position to her credit. Podiums to her credit already this season. Seth Smith Jr. now leading the way at Indianapolis, something we've not seen Swift Autosport do in a very long time. Seth Smith Jr. driving for the team his father built. His father raced in the 500 for years as part of the World Series. Got a few wins in the World Series to his credit. Seth Smith Jr. and his wife Kaylee Zappa, older sister to Felicia, took over running the team in the middle of last season when it became very clear that the team just was not able to compete on the World Series scale. Became one of the first teams in the Challenger Series where it has been stable, it has been consistent, and where results have been able to break through. Coming to 29 laps to go. There's a pit stop waiting for everyone in this field. All 21 runners still in this race have a money stop to make sooner rather than later. Car already down pit lane, I believe leaving pit lane now. We'll see who that was. That was Ochoa. Ochoa, who's been wounded after contact with her teammate Isabel Espinosa. Stops they are coming. More of the field here. Just not the leaders this time. Rolling through. Another car coming down pit lane. That is Maria Chavez, who comes down pit lane. And so will Amity Pulsatrix. As more cars leave pit lane, that is Ishii and... Not Ishii, that is Mizuno and Ochoa. Ishii out of this race. Only one Yanjian Motorsport car, and that is Satomi Ray, making her Champ Car debut, and currently doing an outstanding job in that process. As Seth Smith Jr. comes down pit lane, and the lead right back off to Dale Blanco. Have to assume most of the field's going to come in this time by to get that last stop out of the way, and indeed that's for the most part the case, except for Karina Sakurauchi and for Dale Blanco. They stay out. Decided the overcut's a little bit more powerful. They're banking on it. So pit stop's underway. Seth Smith Jr. leaves pit lane now. Had a Carter, Milinkovic, and I believe that was the Ada D'Amata. It was. Race out of pit lane between Rex Riley and Satomi Ray. And here comes the leaders down pit lane now. So Seth Smith going to be the furthest afield, I believe, of the leaders that have already come down pit lane. Yep. Going to be well and truly pretty well clear of Hoshino and company. So we'll see where he cycles around here on this pit stop. Has to go down from about 220 miles an hour to 60 to approach pit entry. Easier said than done. Leaders just now leaving pit lane. That was Sakurauchi that he went ahead and passed. And there's Blanco. Undercut worked to a magisterial effect. And there goes Jake Carter to second place, ahead of his teammate. Meanwhile, Sakurauchi gets to join into this fight. Milinkovic, Koivanemi, Maria D'Amata. There's Hoshino, there's Sakurauchi there in the middle. Then there's Miyavitsu, not Miyavitsu. Miyavitsu out of this race, that is Isabel Lantra and Maria Chavez, battling side by side. The field's fully spread away at this point. Seth Smith Jr. leads the way. At this point, I see it's saying that Arashi Seto has yet to come down pit lane. So that would be the 52 who's right there. So Seto actually, I think, may have came down during that second pit stop. So yes, Seto might be okay. For a little bit longer. So yes, Seto will lead some laps here. By staying out. However, Seto, being off sequence, will not be able to get to the end of this race without making a pit stop. Would have to somehow stretch the fuel 14 extra laps based off of their pit stop there on about lap 65. It's not something that's very easy to do. So Seto will have to make a pit stop at some point here, holding up Luisa Flores in the process until that does take place. And both Flores and Venäläinen will make their way through. Very interesting how this process has evolved. There's Rex Riley. All the way back here is Seth Smith, second place at the moment until Seto makes that pit stop. Dale Blanco, 42 laps led, sits now behind his teammate though, Jake Carter, who had the undercut pit stop strategy in hand. And Blanco has been leapfrogged not only by Milinkovic but by Koivunieemi as well, and under threat now from Hoshino. Maria Damata just a little too far back to make something happen there. So Blanco not where he wants to be right now at all. There's Carter. Seth Smith Jr.'s gotten around with ease, the 27 of Ochoa. So not a lot of hiccups there for Seth Smith Jr. to waste time on. I thought about potentially wonderful time period where you're coming to, for Seth Smith, 20 laps to go. He leads over Carter by a healthy margin. Seto's come down pit lane. So Seth Smith Jr. now firmly back in control of the race by 1.3 seconds. Milinkovic 2.6 back. And Ochoa just held up Milinkovic big time there. So Milinkovic not going to be a big fan of that. Koivunieemi gets clear though ahead of Blanco and Hoshino. So that'll hold Blanco and Hoshino up a little bit longer. .6 now the gap. Seth Smith's on a roll. One would have to wonder if they can possibly get together here in these next 17 laps to try to close back in on that 5 car and challenge for the race win. That's the big question being asked now. Milinkovic closing in on Carter. How about step in the right direction for Milinkovic? for Sunday's race. Milinkovic seemed to be frustrated in practice for the 500. Didn't like her qualifying position either. Definitely showing she can race it out here. Did not have a great qualifying position tonight either, but did a great job of focusing and racing her way forward. Milinkovic is the fastest car on track at the moment. So this could be an interesting fight at the very end. Blanco's gotten around Koivuniemen. So the fastest car is making their way forward. Again, trying to close in on Seth Smith Jr., who leads the way, coming to 15 laps to go. Had 2 cautions in this race for a total of 9 laps. And it's all come down to this. Coming to 14 laps to go. Milinkovic has caught up to Carter, with Blanco not far behind. If Blanco gets here, it is trouble for Seth Smith. Because Blanco, we know how good his car has been. Clock, it ticks down. Milinkovic gets closer and closer and closer to Carter. Milinkovic has sights set on a race win if she can get it. Sunoco number 30 sitting in 3rd. Carter, the leading of the 2 nationwide Crystal Cove Racing Chevrolets, sitting 2nd for just a moment. And there goes Milinkovic for 2nd place. Necessary evil to try to get up to Seth Smith Jr. The fastest car in the field now has clean real estate to close in. "13 laps to go. Milinkovic within a second too. She is in that drafting space. Koivuniemen frustrating Blanco for 4th. Down the back straightaway we go. Koivuniemi's got a chance, and a realistic one too. Koivuniemen clear of Blanco. That is for 4th. Maria D'Amata in the mix as well. And then you see there's 29 of Maria Chavez ahead of Karina Saccaraucci, Valerie Fang, and Isabel Lantra. Milinkovic is there. Closed right in on the 5. I'm gonna talk about a rocket ship. That 30 car got tuned to the heavens in that last pit stop. Gave her everything she needed to get to the front of the field. She's just got to finish the job now. Coming to 11 laps to go. "11 laps to go now. This is where it gets tense. You got to make your money-winning moves here. Milinkovic knows she's got the faster car. Reeled in the 5. Carter in 3rd. Sorry, no, Blanco in 3rd. Carter's the one that's dropped backwards. So Blanco is in 3rd. Koivuniemen in 4th. Carter 5th. Or it was 5th. Now D'Amata's 5th. And Milinkovic telegraphs it early. Telegraphs it early enough that Seth Smith knows that she's there. 10 to go. And we've got a new race leader. Can she hold on with Dale Blanco now clear for 2nd? Oh, this is going to be tense between Milinkovic and Dale Blanco. Smith in 3rd, Koivuniemen 4th. Overall, a good point stay for Koivuniemen to extend the championship lead. if she can stay there. 9 to go at the line. We've had 2 cautions, both of them in the middle stanza of this race. One, a big one, taking out 10 cars. Smaller incident, taking out a couple. 4 cars under a blanket here. Koivuniemen's in with a shout too. It's all led up to this. Blanco's got an amazing opportunity here. That is smoke, and that is a caution. Venäläinen involved. So is Luisa Floros. And that freezes the field. And that's Sonia Walker. That is the 27 of Ochoa, also involved. So the field is now frozen. And we're going to have a very late race restart here. Venäläinen and Floros all in this conversation. And they're catching up to the 27 of Ochoa. And you can kind of see where this could be going. Oh no, there's a crash well before that. And that's with Lantra, and oh goodness. So there's a crash well before that with the 45 of Lantra. Who we did not see in the, oh, teammates. Again with teammates. And this is Feng trying to come down the racetrack. Lantra shooting the gap. That is late stage of the race with nobody wanting to give an inch. Riley goes to the bottom of the racetrack trying to get clear of all of it. And not everyone's caught up. And you see that is where Ochoa gets a huge piece of it. Goes to the air, gets that car rolling again. And that's where Sonia Walker gets involved. Nowhere to go as the track's completely stopped and blocked. So cars out of this race now by the load. Walker out, Venäläinen, Ochoa, Lantra, Mizuno out as well. It looks like Floros also out. So we're down to at least 15, if not less. It looks like we may be down to less than that, 14 cars if Valerie Feng is also out. And that appears to be the case. So just sort of browse and peruse. No, Valerie Feng's right there. So Valerie Feng's still in the mix, just a lap down. .14 on the lead lap. Satomi Ray, as you saw there, NASCAR on the lead lap. Katarina Milenkovic leads the way. We're going to have a very late restart in this race to settle it all out for the Gainbridge 300. It is Milenkovic, Blanco in the 56 car there. There's Seth Smith Jr. in the 5. The 61 of Koivuniemi in 4th. 5th place, Maria D'Amata. 6th place, Sora Hoshino. 7th place, Jake Carter. Karina Sakurauchi in 8th. Maria Chavez 9th. 10th is going to be Ame Polsatrix over Arashi Seto, Jace Clark, Rex Riley, and Satomi Ray, who's had a very quiet race, thankfully so, for the Namra Cup Series veteran. Lights still on the Ford Raptor Pace truck, which means we're going to be going green with about 4 laps to go, if I'm not mistaken. A win in Indianapolis means a lot. And there's several drivers right now in this mix that would love to have a race win here. Milinkovic, Blanco, Smith would all would love to have a win here. Koivuniemen won a race earlier this season, would love to have another one. Same with Maria D'Amata, who would like to have a race win in the Challenger Series as well. Sora Hoshino, a race win could help Hoshino get their championship ambitions back on track here. Carter, Sakurauchi, Chavez, Pulsatrix, so many drivers that do not have a win yet that could very well use one. I believe lights are out on that 4-Raptor pace truck. It is. So it will be Katarina Milinkovic leading the field to green with 4 laps to go. The field will close up a little bit here, entering turn 3, as everyone gets ready for what is very well the last restart of this race. Whether that's the last caution remains to be seen, but it is the last restart. To the north end of the racetrack. Under caution. Car is getting up to the correct gear. Milinkovic leads Blanco, Smith, and Koivuniemen. High likelihood we're going to get a first-time winner in the Challenger Series here. Who's it going to be taking the checkered flag at the Yard of Bricks? Green flag flies. 4 laps to go. 10 miles. That's the separator. And all the top 4 got a really good restart. From Milinkovic to Koivuniemen. Milinkovic out in front. Smith under the rear wing of Blanco. He looks to the inside. He wants second place. South side of the racetrack is what's going to be coming next out of the turn 4. Now headed south side. Blanco got mugged down to 4th in front of D'Amata. 3 to go. Now Smith and Koivuniemen, they need to close in on Milinkovic. With 3 laps, they've got time. Koivuniemen's got to let Smith breathe into this. He can lead her to the front of the field, and then she can pick him off in the white flag lap. But Milinkovic holding firm, holding true at the front of the field at a 4. Coming to 2 laps to go. Milinkovic holding the front of the field. Has to hold on for 5 more miles. Seth Smith Jr., we talked about the fairy tale it would be for him to get his first win in Champ Car competition for his father's team. Koivuniemen, championship leader, will extend this championship gap. Regardless of what happens now, with Lantra out. Smith, I don't think he's got a lot right now for Milinkovic. Milinkovic comes down to take the white flag. 1 lap to go in the Gainbridge 300. 2.5 miles separates Milinkovic from Brickyard Glory. Smith's got 1 lap to try to close in, but that's a huge gap to try to weave down in 1 singular lap. Giving it everything he's got right now in the 3 and 4 for the final time. Milinkovic leads the way. And it is clear sailing out of 4 for the final time. Seth Smith Jr. tried, just couldn't keep it together. Katarina Milinkovic will bring Striker Motorsports home victorious in Indianapolis. The Gainbridge 300 is won by Milinkovic. Seth Smith Jr. rounds out the 2nd spot. The podium rounded out by the points leader, Rachel Koivuniemen. Del Blanco could not do much better than 4th after leading the most laps in this race at 42. Maria D'Amata in the top 5, a good run for her, for Black Rose Racing. The second, Crystal Cove Racing Machine, Jake Carter, sitting in 6th. Karina Sakurauchi in 7th for Verizon Team Impulse, ahead of Sora Hoshino. Then you have the 29, Maria Chavez, top 10, 9th place, ahead of Amity Bolstrix, who finished top 10. Abashi Seto in 11th, ahead of Rex Riley, Jace Clark. Satomi Ray ends up in 14th there, ahead of Valerie Fang, 15th in the last car running in this field. As the field comes down pit lane, it is Katerina Milenkovic leading the way after a phenomenal finish. Victorious in Indianapolis. Full running order, top of your screen. We talked about the top 15. A lot of retirements in this race. Luisa Flora, Sonia Walker, Rika Venalainen, Katrina Ochoa, Isabel Lantra in 20th place. Yumina Mizuno 21st. Then it's Mia Vitsu, Asada Kito, Roberto Crown Jr., Kira Moore, Isabella Espinoza, Keisha Fox, Espacia Megalos, Natalia Kurachenko, and Yuya Ishii, the top 30. Felicia Zappa, Nara Takarasi, Karina Amara round out the 33-car field. As we get ready now for the 500-mile race, the greatest spectacle in all of motorsports, on Sunday, 11 a.m. on ABN Plus, on ABN and ABN Sports simulcast. The 111th running of the Indianapolis 500 at noon on Sunday. Absolutely wild racing front and center here at Indianapolis. We're set for more of the same on Sunday's spectacle. The next Challenger Series race, for those tuning in here, is next weekend as we head to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway up in Loudon for the Aeromark 225. For everyone that tuned in tonight, we appreciate you spending your time with us here at Indianapolis. Come back on Sunday for the greatest spectacle in all of motorsports, the Indianapolis 500. On behalf of ABN, for ABN Studios, the Firestone Champ Car Challenger Series, and all of its partners, for Horizon Corporation, I'm Carmen Sienna. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you on Sunday for the greatest race of the world. So long, everybody.